Jim, I have the 2023 Pro Wrestling Illustrated Achievement Awards.
Oh, boy.
This issue recently arrived here at Last Manor. I think we previously talked about the nominees. Someone said they sent us the nominees. It was just their nominees. It wasn't even the real nominees.
Yeah, that's what I thought was the one. We're like, what the who would nominate these people?
All right, well, Rookie of the Year. Any guesses who won Rookie of the Year?
I'm going to pass on any of the guesses because...
All right. 29% of the vote went to Sol Ruka or Ruka. I don't know who.
What? Who is he?
No, it's a woman, and it says copyright WWE, so that makes me think she's an NXT somewhere. Sol Ruka or Ruka.
Well, who did Saul beat out?
She beat out at 21%, Ava Rain, the Rock's daughter, who was so good in the ring that now she's the general manager. And also, again, a wrestler I'm not familiar with. Her name is Toga, but she's not wearing a toga. It's just her name. And finally, another woman here on the list, Gabby Forza. And then 32% went to the other votes. That's Rookie of the Year.
What? Where's the year of a Braun Breaker or an MJF or something of that nature? What in the world? Is this our future?
Well, every single name here votes for others. Some of the top vote getters who did not capture a runner-up spot include Danny Palmer, Yuma...
I thought you were going to say Danny Partridge.
Yuma Ansai, and Tiara James.
What the...
Women have taken over the Rookie of the Year spot, it seems like. Most Improved Wrestler of the Year... with 31% of the vote, LA Knight.
I'm not going to argue with anything he wins, but I think they're confusing Most Improved. His performance, obviously he's working hard to step up his game, but his push and the manner he's being featured is what's improved rather than him drastically improving. He was this good last year, right?
I guess so. Well, he beat out a tough competition here. Julia Hart with 28%.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Trick Williams with 9%. And Sonata with 4%.
Ensenada? I thought that was a suburb of Los Angeles.
Sonata. And 28% went to other people, including Dominic Mysterio, Thea Hall, and Kenzie Page. The Comeback of the Year. Any guesses? Comeback of the Year?
Punk. He came back during that year, didn't he? Cody came back last year? Was this in their voting period?
I think he came back before that, before whatever the voting period is, I would think. Well, here it is, the winner, Trinity. Trinity.
What?
Comeback of the Year. She came back in TNA, won a title, and then she immediately left and went back to WWE.
Good Lord.
Comeback of the Year. Other people who got votes, 19% for Saraya.
Oh, God.
17% for Adam Cole.
He came back and crippled himself on live television.
How the hell can you say Adam Cole and come back?
He came back from an injury that nobody actually saw happen to fucking commit one on national live television.
And finally, with 16%, Trish Stratus, 28% went to other people, including CM Punk, Miro, and Roderick Strong.
Oh, God. So that's the others. Okay.
The Inspirational Wrestler of the Year.
I think we can see who's buying this wrestling magazine these days.
Well, 37% Inspirational Wrestler of the Year vote went to Mark Briscoe.
You can't argue with that.
Second place was Cody Rhodes with 25%, followed by Richard Holiday with 8% and Mickie James with 7%. Other votes included Bray Wyatt, Zelina Vega, and Billy Starks. The Most Popular Wrestler of the Year. Any guesses?
Cody.
27% of the vote, Cody Rhodes. Most Popular Wrestler of the Year. Second place, LA Knight. 1% behind with 26.
Ooh.
Followed by MJF with 9% and Sami Zayn with 6%. Other votes included Seth Rollins, Bianca Belair, and Trinity. The most, I don't know why you're laughing. That was not.
I think Trinity's whole family is buying this magazine.
The Most Hated Wrestler of the Year. Any guesses?
With
2023.
Well, I can't remember when they ruined MJF. So I don't know.
With 52% of the vote, Dominic Mysterio.
Okay, all right.
52%, I think that's the biggest percentage we've seen anyone get. 8% for Christian Cage, 7% for Roman Reigns, 6% for CM Punk, 27% for other people, including Don Callis, MJF, and Logan Paul. The feud of the year, I'll just give you this one. Sami Zayn versus The Bloodline with 31%, followed by CM Punk versus AEW with 20%. CM Punk versus AEW, I've never seen it put like that, 20%.
It wasn't even a thing.
Followed by Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar with 10%, and Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus with 8%. Other votes included...
But wait a minute. Again, back to the top. Give us that one again.
Sami Zayn versus The Bloodline, 31% of the vote.
Sami Zayn versus... It ended in February. Last February at the Elimination Chamber. This is for 2023. Again, the Montreal contingent must have stuffed the ballot box. Yes, it was a wonderful thing, but we're ignoring everything that's happened all year when business is blown up because of that. I'm not sure that I can concur with that.
I don't have a big problem with it because there are lots of other things that happen and people broke out as big stars, but what are the other big feuds that propelled things for weeks at a time? The Sami storyline in the midst of the Bloodline was a big thing for a while.
Yeah.
Carried a lot of energy.
But now that you say that, because actually the Usos breaking up was a big deal, but they never had a goddamn program. So,
well, for the record, 31% other votes went to Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso, followed by Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay and Don Callis' family versus Kenny Omega. The Indie Wrestler of the Year, you're not going to get this, so I'll give it to you, with 50% of the vote. Matt Cardona, Indie Wrestler of the Year.
And he's friends with Cody, correct? Or Dustin, or one of the Rhodeses.
I believe
because he did one. Yeah, Cody. He did one match in AEW.
That's right. Then he went. I believe he's reinvented himself on the indie scene and really capitalized on what he's done out on the indie scene. So he wins, followed by 7% for Steph DeLander, 6% for Alley Catch, and 5% for Brian Keith, who just signed with AEW. Other votes. 32% went for Becca, and the E is a 3. Blake Christian and Adam Priest. Match of the year. This is a surprising one. Match of the year with 13% of the vote. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, WrestleMania.
Ooh. I'm surprised, first of all, that a legitimate actual match of the year actually won match of the year in a poll like this. And secondly, with only 13%, everybody must have been all over the page on the other choices.
Right. At 11%, coming in second was Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre, which was a hard-hitting match at WrestleMania, followed by Omega versus Will Ospreay.
Oh, good Lord.
Followed by MJF versus Bryan Danielson. That was a great match. 59% of the other votes went for various things, including Moxley versus Orange Cassidy, Roman and Solo versus the Usos, and Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega at the Tokyo Dome.
Again, the best match of the year was FTR and Gin and Juice on whether it was Collision or Dynamite. It was Collision.
It was Collision,
week, right?
Early weeks of Collision.
That was the best wrestling match of the year from, if you're just gearing it to wrestling match, it wasn't the main event at WrestleMania or highly featured on a pay-per-view, but if you're talking about the best match, that was the best match of the year from any fucking promotion anywhere in the goddamn world. And they didn't even vote for it. What the fuck is the matter with people?
Well, Tag Team of the Year, 37% of the vote. FTR.
There you go. So they know it happened. They just, well, because it was on AEW television. Maybe they just said, fuck it. It couldn't have been any good.
Problem is tag team wrestling in general. Second place, 16% for Owens and Zayn, followed by 9% for Better Than You, Bebe, which was MJF and Adam Cole, followed by 6% for the Usos, 32% for the other teams, including Motor City Machine Guns, Young Bucks, and Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Faction of the Year, Judgment Day, 48% of the vote, followed by Blackpool Combat Club at 16%, The Bloodline with 11, Bullet Club Gold with 6. Other votes included House of Black, The Outcasts, and the Cosmic Angels.
Who are the Cosmic Angels?
Woman of the Year. Any guesses for Woman of the Year?
With the Rhea Ripley.
Woman of the Year, Taylor Swift.
Well, oh, come on.
No. With 50% of the vote, Rhea Ripley, Woman of the Year, 50% of the vote. With 7% coming in second is Toni Storm, followed by Bianca Belair with 6, and Athena with 5. 32% other votes for Marsha Slamovich, Camille, and Trinity. Wrestler of the Year. Is this the last one? No, it's two after this. Wrestler of the Year. Who was Wrestler of the Year for 2023? Who was willing to take a photo with a plaque?
Well, I would, if I was going grading strictly on someone actually deserving of that honor, one could say Cody Rhodes. One could say Roman Reigns. One could say, was anybody still important in the year of 2023 in AEW that was deserving of that honor? I can't remember.
Well, with 27% of the vote, Wrestler of the Year is Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins. Well, there you go. The Workman's title.
Followed by 15% for Gunther, 12% for Will Ospreay, and 9% for MJF. 37% of the other votes went to people including Rhea Ripley, Roman Reigns, and Bryan Danielson. So, Wrestler of the Year. Any problems with Seth Rollins?
Well, again, it's the working man's title. He's the Wrestler of the Year, and then they worry about the box office attraction on another category.
As soon as he started talking about like the working man's title, he got hurt. But the Stanley Weston Award, this is a tribute award, no, a Lifetime Achievement Award, that's what it is, went to two people. Sting, and here he is with his famous Sting frown, or whatever you call it. He doesn't really smile anymore like he used to. But Sting, and also Nancy Benoit.
Oh, well, that was nice. That was nice.
And then there's a few pages of fan submissions that we will not be acknowledging here on the show.
Yes.
All right, well, those are the PWI awards.
Well, now there you have it. Everything you ever wanted to know about who the people were in 2023 we had to keep an eye on. And fortunately, we kept an eye on most of them and managed to avoid them altogether.